Hey everyone, welcome back to BioNexus Health Podcast, Autism Uprooted. Today we have a very popular mom in our podcast. We have Benazir from Pakistan has very kindly agreed to give us an update. We started with camel milk with Benazir's son, Hamza, and Benny's here to give us an update as to how he's done on the BioNexus Camel Milk Protocol. So let's proceed over to Benny.
Welcome to the BioNexus Health Podcast with Dr. Jodie A. Dashore, who holds a PhD in integrative medicine, is board certified in integrative pediatrics, an internationally recognized pioneering clinician, and author. And now here's your host of BioNexus Health Podcast, Dr. Jodie A. Dashore.
Thank you very much, first of all, for having me here. And yes, I'm very excited to share that Camel Milk Protocol was a very effective thing I've seen on this whole journey. We, in fact, had started seeing benefits from the start in our journey with the BioNexus. But still, I must say, as Camel Milk Protocol was more focused on gut and immunity healing, as you said before starting that, as you communicated with us.
Actually, Benny, I'm sorry. I wanted to remind everyone that, for those who have watched my Camel Milk podcast as well, that what we did for Hamza was that we started Camel Milk at the right time. We just did not go in gung-ho, all right, we're going to start with raw, so that is why there is a systematic protocol, right?
Yeah, I was actually coming there. Yeah, exactly. It is very important. In fact, I had to mention, Yes, I can put it this way that when I came to BioNexus, we were actually focusing on mold and Lyme and pans and pandas, for example, what we diagnosed at that time. And it was
right.
And we followed all the phases of BioNexus. And along with that, almost about after 2 years, as Dr. Jodie, you prescribed camel milk. It was almost 2 years on the protocol when you prescribed him camel milk. And here I want to mention that before coming to BioNexus, I was using camel milk with benefits. I was thinking that maybe it is benefiting. I believe that it is beneficial, and it was putting up a few benefits and might be controlling something. But we then had a gap while having BioNexus protocol. And we started again on your advice. And a few months back, maybe last October, as I remember, or maybe September. Yeah, we were advised to add it back in the protocol. And it seemed like it's not the same camel milk, because it really, the graph of improvement rose a little. It was steep up. And what I'm talking about is his interaction and his speech. Now, coming to the speech, he was able to communicate more, non-verbally, verbally, and the way he was interacting with his environment. Look, when we have an autistic child at home, usually they are so disconnected, as I've seen and I have experienced. They're so disconnected with their environment that they usually passing by, they don't pick up the toys, don't play well. For example, these are few things that we don't kind of move around like a robot. That we have to take care of them, and somebody must be watching over them. Kind of that
safety awareness, self-awareness, body awareness, safety awareness, where the body is in space. These are all higher sensory functions. Yes,
exactly. Why I'm mentioning this, that it's not only important how he's communicating. His isolation time must also be very beneficial. We must be seeing growing child who's interacting, who's seeing environment, trying something new. That is also important, that he's doing good on his own as well. So all these benefits I must attribute to the camel milk protocol that we started. I saw improvement in every area. I must mention not only the communication, not only speech, maybe he is not on full sentence speech till now. He uses full sentences, but when he is forced to. And for that, we sent him back to the school, as I just mentioned. We sent him back to the school, and there he performed better. Whenever he is put to a situation where he is on his own now, and we push him now because he seems to be ready for this challenge, he really tries to talk more. I have seen him communicating much better now. And even, for instance, if I say, for example, last time I took him to a horse riding session, there his horse jumped a few times. He was not supposed to do that when Hamza was riding. He got into panic, but he was calm. Yeah, he even suddenly, got hold on his reins, and he made himself stable. All of this counts as how he is able to manage himself.
Yes.
This all, contributes to his getting independent.
Yes, it does. You're mentioning the horse. That again, that is a higher sensory function of being able to physiologically and physically as well align yourself with your environment. So that requires proprioception, body awareness, environmental awareness, right? And the speed of communication between the brain and your body needs to be super fast. Reaction time.
And look, it was an animal. Even I'm afraid of interacting with the animals like this, and it was all of a sudden the horse wasn't supposed to jump. I don't know why he jumped, but Hamza grabbed it very forcefully. And next time, even in the next session, I was thinking that if he's afraid, he might not want to sit on it. But he went to take his turn. Before going there, he just said, "Mama, my tummy is aching." And then the instructor said, maybe he's a little afraid of the last experience. And yes, he was, but he got to the platform and he very comfortably, got on his horse and again started riding, and which is very good. Look, he is thinking that I should try again.
Try to overcome his fear. That's again, that's decision making, that's executive function. That's so important. One thing, Benazir, I'd like to interject is when we are speaking of the Camel Milk Protocol, we are speaking, it's a protocol. It's not just camel milk. Like you mentioned before that, you were giving camel milk. Yes. Of course, camel milk is a superfood. You will see nutritional benefit. However, like I mentioned in my camel milk podcast, I think we'll have to provide a link for that here, that in pandas children, anything that stimulates the immune system cannot be used early on, not until inflammation, other triggers. Identifying all triggers for pandas and neutralizing those triggers to the best of our ability is key to nutritional success. Because, for how long are you going to give nutritional, like artificial vitamins? They're all natural, but I'm saying they're not something that the body is manufacturing on its own. And the body is capable of absorption, manufacturing its own vitamins, its own antibodies, immunity, immune cells, even stem cells, right? The body has a full capacity for producing all of these different kinds of cells as needed for repair, healing. Now, camel milk provides nutrition, a lot of nutrition. It's almost similar to breast milk, according to research. And when it is added at the right time, along with the right herbals and the right protocol, it does not cause a PANS flare. It will not increase because, camel milk by nature is going to provide antibodies, beneficial antibodies, but not so beneficial if added at the wrong time.
Yeah, I must second that. Yes, I must say exactly as you have mentioned that I haven't seen any pans and pandas obvious flares again.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, that is important to mention here that yes, it was the right time, and because earlier we used to have that, and the intensity was getting more and more as definitely we have discussed earlier as well. And ever since these issues are controlled, we really respond to the infections with high grade fever. And I'm very happy about this because he never had a fever, especially the high grade fever. By high grade fever, I mean he never even crossed 100, 100 or
I
one or
see.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And now he responds to such challenges with a proper fever whenever it happens. And even last time he had a tummy ache. I wasn't able to understand what happened. I was in a new place. Maybe he had a little anxiety. Maybe this caused him indigestion or what. But on his way back, he had a little tummy upset. But I'm very happy at that time as well. He was able to communicate us that he's having tummy aches. And I used your GIS blend at that time. Yeah, I have it spare in the fridge all the time for such situations. And it really controlled the situation in a couple of days. Yes.
I love it. I love it,
Yeah.
Benny. I love hearing this. GIS blend, a gastrointestinal support blend, of course. I have that in my purse. I have that. I have the calm and focus support. I have it in my purse as well. Anytime we travel, if my son needs it, it's like, or he has it in his backpack as well for before the exams. That seems to help. I mean, the kind of exams he is doing is very high level exams. So I'm like, it's completely normal because we're not doing coffee. We are not abusing any kind of Adderall, which is rampant here. During exams, students and end up using all of these things, right? 3, 4, 5 cups of black coffee, Red Bull, this and that, just to be alert. We are not doing any of that. We are just doing BioNexus herbals just to stay calm and focused. So I'm really happy. I'm happy to hear about the high fever and that, he's getting fever and he's recovering from it.
Yeah.
That's nature.
Yes, exactly. He's not having flares. Instead, he's having fever, properly managing the infections. And indeed, one thing was really funny. I would like to share here as well. At the same time, when he had a little tummy upset, we were at my friend's place, and we because he had a vomit, etc. So we were thinking to avoid the panic of his father. We decided, I and my daughter decided that when we'll get back home, we won't discuss this with his father because he might feel a little panicky or something. But when we got home, Hamza especially grabbed his attention. Papa, Papa, he said, what happened? Papa, tummy ache, vomiting, tummy ache, vomiting.
Oh,
and
my goodness.
like, oh, tummy ache. We were trying to avoid, but still he insisted. He said, Papa, Papa, it happened. And from this, I want for the new parents, especially, that he was able to recall and share a past experience with his father, which was really, pleasant experience for me, because he was, discussing something that had happened earlier. Yes. And I wasn't discussing it. He decided by himself. So to share this.
To inform his dad of a not so pleasant experience that he had, so that's really great. See, so overall, one other thing that you mentioned, Benazir, was the 2 years that, it actually took us 2 years to be able to resolve. And keep in mind, if we are, to those watching, we are speaking international here from the US all the way across the world. So we have to consider shipping and customs delays and delays with the medications. Additionally, we ran labs, and every child is different because the number of triggers that we found in Hamza had to be addressed before. Now, there are other children that are domestic and, who don't have similar variables. We may add camel milk sooner, but usually, bottom line is, and again, not camel milk, the camel milk protocol. The bottom line is identify and eliminate triggers for PANS. I mean, Hamza is getting fevers. Now, PANS is known as the alternate fever response, because children with PANS pandas don't get fevers. It goes, right, it goes into creating autoantibodies that attack the brain. Now, when a child with PANS pandas starts getting a high-grade fever without a PANS flare, that's when you know that true healing has occurred.
Yeah, exactly. And I would second that. Hamza was 7 years old when we got our first protocol. So definitely, it was a tremendous, time of damage that we were having. And some things I've seen many people who had exposure for a couple of months or something, but Hamza had a very long, extended period of exposure, almost at least 4 years of initial 4 years of a heavy exposure to mold. And still, as we were having such patients usually have mold hidden in their homes as well.
That's correct.
It's not apparently in front of them on walls or something. We have in books, clothes, everything. That also, and we sometimes avoid ventilation. We use air conditioners. Our lifestyles are not that good. So it keeps on building inside. And Hamza had very bad detox. All the things we had in labs indicated that his detox function was really bad. So starting the protocol at 7 years, heavy inflammation, heavy exposures, all this contributed to those, extended times. And again, shippings and even the COVID time, the whole...
That's right.
Yeah, at that time, shipping was even very difficult at times. They were taking a long time to deliver the medicine. So all that made this such a long time. But still, the change we have seen him is really encouraging. Those who can do this must do this, because it definitely helps. And even I personally believe that as we have seen such a change during the protocol, and after, when we will have, now Hamza is on a maintenance protocol, which is a very reduced protocol. Yes. And the life is quite back at normal. Even if it was back at normal with the protocol, it wasn't that difficult, and there was nothing very, there was no injectables or something like that, difficult things, just a little spacing out of things, the supplements we were using, only those things. Yeah, so I believe Hamza was a very tough case because he had damage initially, and tremendous damage. And in fact, I now feel that the situation was worsening with the time, which was reversed with the treatment.
That is fantastic. Yes. So, one thing I love that you stressed on the fact that Hamza was already 7 years old. That's true. I mean, younger the better. And nowadays, you'll be happy to hear, nowadays I've had parents, the awareness is improving, that I have parents of 7-month, 10-month-old babies, who have, who are having major gut issues. The eye contact is beginning to be less, they're having some developmental delays. And I've got moms and dad, already on it. And they are looking for answers because they don't want their child to go into autism and or any other negative situation. So that is a very good change happening in the world. And And on a final note, I would like to say that when you mention as an autism family that life is back to normal, that is
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah, quite normal. I don't avoid social gatherings now. Actually, we have to push Hamza through it. Even if, look, for example, sometimes he might get a little sensory overloaded. That's natural. We
Sure.
also get sensory overloaded. Sometimes there are places where the music is, very loud, or the lights are very bright, something like that. That definitely affects everybody, and it definitely affects Hamza as well. And maybe his response is a bit different, but everybody responds a bit different. So I don't, avoid any situation because of that.
Good.
And people also have to understand that everybody is different. And secondly, most important thing, as a parent, as an autism mom, we want our child to be functional.
Yes.
Trying to be functional, learning child, interacting, improving child, that's more important. So the smaller aspects of life, that getting sensory overloaded, responding to EMFs and all that, are part of life. I don't bother, or I don't, change my decision because of these
I agree.
situations.
I agree.
Yeah.
As he gets older and we continue with his treatment, a couple new things, mostly maintenance, you will keep seeing improvements. I'm surprised how long the improvements continue. So, all right, cool. So thank you so much for sharing your camel milk journey with me today. And I'm sure it has been very helpful to those watching. And for those of you watching, I will see you next time on another episode of Autism Uprooted. In fact, I think we are going to invite Benazir back again to speak about we spoke about the Camel Milk Protocol. Next, we are going to be speaking about the speech protocol. So be sure to watch that one as well. Right? Until then, take care. Namaste.
Thank you for joining Master Herbalist Dr. Jodie A. Dashore, Director of the BioNexus Health Clinic and BioNexus Herbals, on the BioNexus Health Podcast, where we explore and share information and stories about recovering and healing from chronic and environmental illnesses such as mold biotoxin illness, Lyme disease, autism spectrum disorder, fatigue, Crohn's and colitis, mast cell activation syndrome, PANS, and more. Please help us grow our message by subscribing to our podcast channel and sharing the podcast on your social networks. For more information, visit bionexushealth.com.
Information within this video, audio, or text, collectively known as the podcast, has not been reviewed by the FDA. Nothing within the podcast is intended as or should be construed as medical advice. Information is for general informational and educational purposes only. Consumers of the podcast should consult with their healthcare practitioners for medical recommendations. Seek the advice of a qualified healthcare provider. Do not disregard the advice of a healthcare provider based on any information from the podcast. The information within the podcast may contain information concerning dietary supplements or over-the-counter products that are not drugs. Our dietary supplement products are not intended for use as a means to cure, treat, prevent, diagnose, or mitigate any disease or other medical or abnormal condition.